those are well-grounded fears that
Definitely they are. I mean, if you're saying that you did this presidential election and now, oh, we're just going to take all your powers away because we're in fear of what you might do in the future. I mean, what was even wasn't that the goal, was to get someone who's going to spread the leadership amongst the people in the country instead of keeping it as, it is as it stands right now, that this particular party has all the power, which is not a democracy, and the president has none. I mean, what was the point of him even going forth and running for president and getting elected or soon to be elected? I mean, why is it coming down to this in a presidential election on what are you doing? It should be about the issues that you're trying to solve. It should be about what you're going to do for our country. It should be about what kind of person you are, morally and all things like that. And I don't that are putting out terror messages and ways to, destroy different things, guns and assembly and all these kind of things. So I can see that they don't want, a young impressionable child getting this, trying to read the manual to make an explosive or something just to try out in their basement thinking, hey, it's going to be 4th of July next week, it's going to be cool to blow something up. I can understand that, but definitely I don't feel the need to censor things like a political person.
Doctors warned that this trend could lead to outbreaks of diseases such as whooping cough and measles. And measles. Brittany, this question goes to you. Do you think that parents should stick to a strict vaccination schedule, or do you think they have the right to vaccinate their children as they see fit?
They, first off, absolutely have the right to do whatever they see fit for their personal child. However, when it affects the well-being of other children in their class, around them, in their society, at the park, whatever, I feel that there's a schedule for a reason. You need these shots when you need them at this time, because maybe this shot wore off and it's helping to introduce it to your system to keep you from being sick. Now, if you don't vaccinate your child on schedule, then you're ultimately letting them become more susceptible to the diseases, to be in pain and having to get an operation or another vaccine or, intravenous drugs or things of that nature. So getting 6 shots at once, I'd rather my kid go through that one time than being in the hospital for months.
Could it just be a benign cost-cutting measure?
Well, being a journalism major, I feel that this is just absolutely ridiculous that he would even think to do this. I mean, why are you worried about who the editor is going to be if you have no intention whatsoever to go forth and have topics that you want presented and have opinions that you want presented? That's just the way I feel. Just like Robert said, it is supposed to be the 4th branch of the government, and I hold that true. And someone who's in government has no reason to even be thinking about the paper. And if he's trying to cut costs, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of different vendors and things he can cut costs from that doesn't have to do with something that's, the students do think that's important, especially me. I think that the paper is very important. I like to write for the paper, and, I'm sure other journalism majors and students as well feel the same way. Don't cut costs on something that's important to students in this major, or any major for that matter. Well, in this case, the mother didn't know that it wasn't, she wasn't able to send her child to school with the sunblock, and she was going to be allowed to apply it. So assuming that she was going to be able to have her field day, which is why she was left outside for so many hours to receive a sunburn, and her little sister, she wasn't able to put the sunblock on. The teacher told her, no, you're not allowed to use it. It's against state policy, whatever. She didn't get to use it. So in this instance, I think it is a little bit overreaching, because these children, no one ever tells you that. I mean, I've went to the school my whole life, 15 some odd years, and I've never heard of this law in my life. And when I was little in elementary school, I was allowed to put on sunblock at field day. I mean, that's what we did. We all stood and put our stuff on before we went in the water and did water balloons and all that. So, I mean, they're enforcing it extra wherever she was. So it's kind of like, well, how can the mother prevent this if she doesn't even know about it? And how come the government is, trying so hard to make this effort to do
every
this?
detail
Down. Authorizing legal immigrants without, arresting them without probable cause, making it in that state a crime for unauthorized immigrants to fail to carry registration papers, and forbidding those not authorized for employment in the United States to apply. So, as a citizen, it's illegal for me to drive down the street without my ID. I get in trouble, I get a fine. So why would you take that part out? That makes sense to me. And it makes sense that if you're a prostitute, you're not paying taxes, so that's why you get in trouble, that's why it's a crime. So if you're not registered, I'm just saying, I'm making a correlation here to these laws like that we already have for citizens that's a law for a normal citizen. If you aren't paying taxes, if you aren't, providing the correct identification and following the rules, you get in trouble. So why did they take that part out and leave the part that allows for racial profiling, allows for, police to harass people that think that they, are someone who's doing something
suspicious? Yeah,
it's the part that they left in that's.
So you're not really sure what the Supreme Court was thinking.
Why they're taking out the most crucial part and leaving in the part that's like, making it harder for people to drive and, like he said, be scared. I mean.
Do you have a problem with what Mr. Manchester is doing?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of like, if you're a journalist, you go through the steps and you get your degree and it teaches you the ethics code of journalism, to stay unbiased and to be, just give the facts. Tell the facts and let the people decide and give them the information up front. Don't hide anything. Don't hold anything back. Now with this guy, he's using it to further his own agenda and tell people not to do this and what to do and how to think. It's a glorified blog on a piece of paper. He might as well just have a website blogging about all the things that he hates in the government or in America or about gay people, and it just makes journalists look bad. I looked up some statistics on this, and 60,000 citizens in the U.S. identify as a transgender or someone who is bisexual, gay in that community. And I think that, this is a really big topic. Not just in California where, it's been legalized and people are doing it and it's just accepted and you can go to San Francisco, wherever upstate and see all these things. It needs to be something that is brought into across the country. If 60,000 people are identifying outwardly, just identifying, who knows how many are undercover about it and want to be outward about it and want to show that. And I think that it's a wonderful topic to bring into the government and try to not necessarily decide on it, but give people equal benefits if we're going to be an equal country that has equal rights for all. Just make it equal then, for real, instead of saying it and not doing it. Well, I actually, when you read the article, the representative is saying how they're just trying to broaden their horizons and they're just trying to invite everyone in to be, okay with this idea, and they didn't expect it to have so much, backlash or whatever. And I actually appreciate that they're a company that takes pride in what they're doing, and they support everybody. They're not trying to be discriminatory or say negative things about anyone, and I like that. And I don't see the reason behind why people are boycotting Kraft. Like, do you know how many things are made by Kraft? You're not going to boycott Kraft in general. You might boycott Oreos, but that's just absolutely ridiculous. Just let it go.